If I were alive to see your world today, I would find myself both fascinated and disturbed. I am told that you have created something called social media, a vast, interconnected web where millions of individuals project their images, ideas, and desires into the digital ether. At first glance, it appears to be a marvel of human progress, a testament to technological genius. Yet, as I would quickly point out, beneath every invention of civilization lies the tension between the instincts of man and the demands of society. Social media, though new in form, is but another stage where the unconscious enacts its eternal drama. Allow me, then, to take you on a journey, not merely to describe social media as an invention, but to analyze it as a psychological phenomenon. For in truth, this arena of likes, shares, followers, and endless scrolling reveals more about your unconscious drives than perhaps you realize. 1. Civilization and its digital discontents. When I wrote Civilization and its Discontents, I argued that civilization is built upon the renunciation of instinct. To live together, man must restrain his desires. Aggression is curtailed. Sexuality is regulated. Selfish impulses are subdued. But these instincts do not vanish. They persist, repressed, only to return in disguised forms. What is social media, then, if not a new release valve for this tension? It offers the illusion of freedom to express, to desire, to indulge while still within the safe boundaries of the digital stage. You cannot strike your rival in reality, but you may attack him with words in a comment section. You cannot unite with every object of desire in life, but you may surround yourself with endless images of beauty, fantasy, and seduction. Thus, social media is the compromised formation of modern man's psyche, instinct expressed under the guise of culture, the narcissism of likes and followers. One of my earliest studies concerned narcissism. I observed how the ego invests libido in itself, finding pleasure in its own image. With social media, narcissism finds fertile soil. The selfie, the carefully curated profile, the endless hunger for likes, all of these reveal the libidinal energy directed back upon the self. In the ancient myth, Narcissus gazed into the pool of water until he perished, unable to detach from his reflection. Today, the digital screen has replaced the pool. You post your photograph, your thoughts, your lifestyle, not merely to communicate, but to be reflected back in the eyes of others. Each like is a confirmation. You are beautiful. You are worthy. You are loved. Each follower is an extension of the ego ideal. But what occurs when the likes do not arrive? When the followers depart, the ego suffers a narcissistic injury. You feel small, rejected, insignificant. This is not unlike the child who longs for the mother's approving gaze and suffers deeply when it is absent. Social media transforms millions into children once more, seeking validation, fearing abandonment, clinging to the digital mother who dispenses approval in numbers and symbols. The pleasure principle and the endless scroll. You know that I distinguished between the pleasure principle, the pursuit of immediate gratification, and the reality principle, the necessary delay and regulation of desire for survival in the real world. Social media, however, is constructed to keep you bound to the pleasure principle. Consider the endless scroll. Each flick of the finger offers the possibility of new stimulation, an image, a joke, a scandal, a tragedy. You are like the child who pulls the lever in an experiment, uncertain what reward will come, but compelled to continue. This, my friends, is nothing but the compulsion to repeat, merged with the lure of pleasure. The platforms exploit this unconscious mechanism. They know that man is not governed by reason, but by the irrational cravings of the ID. You tell yourself, just one more minute, yet an hour passes. Why? Because the pleasure principle resists the demands of reality. Aggression and the digital superego. Civilization restrains aggression. yet aggression must go somewhere. On social media, it finds release in trolling and cancel culture, in the delight of humiliating others. What you call hate comments, I would recognize as disguised expressions of the death drive. The instinct not only to destroy oneself, but to attack the other. But there is more. Social media creates a harsh superego. The superego, as I described, is the internalized authority that criticizes and punishes the ego. Today, it is not only the parental voice that forms this superego, but the digital community itself. Every action, every opinion, every word is judged. Step outside the norm, and the collective superego descends with merciless condemnation. Thus, you live under the constant gaze of a digital other. It is as though the entire world has become your superego, watching, evaluating, shaming. This produces anxiety, conformity, and guilt, yet also perverse pleasure. For punishment satisfies unconscious desires as well. Desire and illusion in the marketplace of images. Another feature of social media is its transformation of desire into commodity. You encounter influencers selling lifestyles, advertisements masquerading as entertainment, bodies reduced to spectacles. I argued that human beings are never satisfied. Desire moves endlessly from one object to another. Social media amplifies this restlessness. Here, every image promises happiness, the vacation, the perfect relationship, the luxury car. Yet once acquired, satisfaction fades, and you seek the next. This is the very structure of desire, perpetual longing, never fulfillment. But perhaps most troubling is that desire itself becomes alienated. You no longer know what you want. You are told what to want by the algorithm, by the curated feeds, by the influencers who serve as new ego ideals. Your unconscious wishes are manipulated, directed, commodified. In this sense, social media is not neutral, it colonizes your desire. The compulsion to repeat in the digital sphere. I wrote extensively on what I called the repetition compulsion. The tendency of individuals to repeat painful experiences, to recreate trauma, to live again what once wounded them. On social media, this phenomenon is visible in the endless cycles of self-sabotage. Posting, regretting, deleting, posting again, falling into toxic arguments, though one swore to stop, returning obsessively to the profile of the lost lover. You repeat not because you consciously choose to, but because the unconscious insists. Social media provides the stage for this compulsion to unfold. Each cycle promises resolution, but delivers only further dissatisfaction. The child's cry of "again" is echoed in the adult's compulsive scrolling, posting, and checking. The unconscious made visible. When I began my work, I shocked the world by insisting that man is not master of his own house. The unconscious rules, shaping dreams, slips of the tongue, neurotic symptoms. Today, I would say, social media is the unconscious made external. The fantasies, the aggression, the desires, the anxieties, all spill into the digital space. What was once hidden in the privacy of thought is now broadcast to the world. The ID has found its microphone. But does this lead to liberation? Or to new forms of enslavement? When everyone's unconscious is displayed, the result is not harmony, but chaos, conflict, envy, rivalry. Civilization once depended on repression to maintain order. Social media weakens repression, and the result is instability. A trembling civilization intoxicated by its own unconscious impulses. A new future of psychoanalysis? If I were to practice psychoanalysis today, I would not limit myself to the consulting room. I would study the feeds, the comments, the memes. For here lies the modern dream life of humanity. Social media is your collective dream, your nightly hallucination stretched into daylight hours. Just as dreams conceal unconscious wishes in symbolic form, so too do your posts, your captions, your emojis. Each image, Each phrase is a compromise between desire and censorship. To analyze a social media profile is to conduct a psychoanalysis of the digital self. I might even say, the analyst of the future must learn not only to interpret dreams, but to interpret the Instagram story, the TikTok video, the viral tweet. For these are the dreams of your time, the illusion of connection. Let me end with this reflection. Man has always longed for connection, for union, for the easing of loneliness. Social media promises this, yet it delivers only partial satisfaction. For though you may have thousands of friends or followers, you remain fundamentally alone with your unconscious. The more you seek external validation, the further you drift from the task of knowing yourself. The screen reflects your image, but it does not interpret your soul. That task still requires the difficult, painful journey inward, the courage to confront the repressed, to acknowledge the drives, to face the truth of your own psyche. So I would say to you, use this invention wisely, but do not be deceived. Social media is not liberation. It is another stage where the eternal conflicts of desire, repression, and the unconscious play themselves out. To understand it is not to condemn it, but to see it for what it is, the unconscious in digital disguise. And as always, the question remains, will you master it, or will it master you?